Okay, I was discussing about the colliculi, and here is the superior colliculus. As you see in the midbrain, I'm using 3D for medical. This is animated software that used to give the orientation about the structures. Here's superior colliculus. You know, this is lying in the tectum, important for controlling the visual reflexes, and it's connected with the lateral geniculate body. If I click a little bit lower, the second elevation is a known as inferior colliculus, and this is also a paired structure that is responsible for auditory reflexes. And if I am going here, so this structure is cerebral peduncles made up of crus cerebri, and anteriorly this is interpeduncular fossa, from where you will see the origin of third cranial nerve. So you know cerebral peduncles are made up of large bundle of fibers that also known as crus cerebri, and they are coming directly from the cerebral cortex and going to the brain stem. So what's the structure here? This is pons, an area that is located between the midbrain and medulla oblongata. And this is a site from where we saw the origin of fifth cranial nerve, sixth, seventh, and eighth cranial nerve is arising from the junction of pons and medulla. So let us quickly review some of the parts of the structures. This is anterior view of pons. Here I am giving you, this one is the lateral view, and this one is the posterior view of pons. If I rotate it, this is a posterior view of the pons. Let me bring it in middle. I am hiding this part. This is related to the cerebellum. Now you can see here. This is a posterior view of pons. Inferior cerebellar peduncle is on the sides. This is inferior middle cerebral peduncle, and this one is a superior cerebral peduncle, and this is the main area of the pons that is making the floor of fourth ventricle also. So here is the main body of the pons, you can see, and this mainly forming the anterior wall of fourth ventricle. And this junction, this is also the site for the origin of trigeminal nerve, and at the junction is the origin for the abducent facial and vestibulocochlear nerves. So you can see the anterior view. This is a basilar groove in the front. You can see the posterior view. Now come back to medulla oblongata. This is medulla oblongata. So here, this one is a pyramidal swelling, one of the main swelling that we saw in the picture. This is pyramidal swelling. We have two pyramidal swellings, right and left. By the side of the pyramidal swelling, this is known as olivary swelling, are one of the oval prominences that is located lateral to the pyramid. It's made up of olivary nucleus. It was covered in our lecture. And you know this pyramid is made up of cortico-spinal tracts and cortico-bulbar tracts, and it is a decussation that appear here as a swelling. This is olive, and here is the main body of the medulla oblongata. This is also known as pons. Oh, sorry, this is also known as myelin cephalon, and it is here the upper part making the floor of the fourth ventricle. Now I am here on the posterior view. What you can see, gracile tubercle. This is due to gracile fasciculi and gracile nucleus. This is also the gracile of the other side. And this is cuneate tubercle, appear due to the cuneate nuclei, and the lateral one, you know, this part. This is the main body of the medulla oblongata that is making taking shape in the formation of fourth ventricle also. So let's go back to the brainstem again here, and let me come to cerebellum now. I think the brainstem is clear to all of you. Let have a look on the cerebellum here in this model. Cerebellum. Yes, we are here on cerebellum. First of all, take a look on the overall structure. What you able to see here, this is how cerebellum is located. If I click here, this is the structure of pons and medulla, and this is a division. This is the posteriormost part, flocculonodular lobe, and this anterior, what we see in the cross section where the pons and medulla is attached, this is known as anterior cerebellar notch. And here is a posterior cerebellar notch, and this is a midline that is known as vermis. So let me show you. This is a vermis of cerebellum. Is a narrow medial portion between two cerebellar hemispheres, and it has 9 divisions. You can see the divisions in the text and the theory. Mainly, it consists of lingula, central part, culmen, declive, folium, tuber, pyramid, uvula, and nodulus. This all is vermis. It goes like this, covering superior and inferior both of the parts. Now let me click here. This entire is a posterior lobe of cerebellum. Let me hide this one part because it's not related because it's the occipital lobe. Now I can click it more clear. So this is posterior lobe. It forms a major part of the cerebellum, and it's mainly responsible for receiving the impulses from cerebral cortex. It is a part that is responsible for the planning movement and also evaluating the sensory informations. So this entire part is the posterior lobe. Here is a horizontal fissure in between what we show you in the main picture of the text. Now this is the anterior lobe of cerebellum that is divided by a primary fissure, fissure prima or primary fissure. So entire brainstem and cerebellum is in the front of us. Yes. You can look from here also. Now this one is flocculus or flocculonodular lobe. This is located on the posterior margin of middle cerebellar peduncles. So these connections are known as cerebral peduncles. This is the tonsils, the central part. The tonsils of the cerebellum, the group of the lobules that emerge from the anterior-inferior surface. This one. If I'm going to hide these structures, then I can able to show you this. And if you look inside, it look like this. This is known as arbor vitae. These extensions known as arbor vitae of cerebellum. And again, here is the tonsil of cerebellum that emerge from anterior-inferior surface, and they are continuous with the posterior lobe of cerebellum and vermis. Now here is the anterior view. You can see all the structures. Flocculonodular lobe, peduncles. This is horizontal fissure. Now this one is again giving the overview of all the structures, including the vermis and tonsils. And this is a posterior view. Now let's go back. We took the brainstem, we took the cerebellum. Now let me just show you the cranial nerves arising from cerebellum, if possible, from here. Let me see. This is vermis. Already we have seen the central part. Here is the tonsils, vermis, arbor vitae. You know what is arbor vitae? And 1 minute. This part was left tentorium cerebellum. This is a cover for the durameter. It's look like a tent, or the pole shaped structure you see. This is like a tent. Is covering the superior surface of the cerebellum, or mainly the anterior lobe, and a small part of the posterior lobe above the horizontal fissure. This is a fold of a durameter dividing the cranial cavity. So, tentorium cerebelli, or tent of cerebellum, is crescent shaped in fold of a dura that separates cerebellar hemispheres. So above is the cerebral hemispheres and below is a cerebellar hemisphere. This is a posterior lobe of cerebellum. This one is a anterior lobe of the cerebellum. You need to hide these structures, then you can see. Here is the anterior lobe. This one is the anterior lobe of the cerebellum. So now let's quickly go to the cranial nerves, and if I can able to show you cranial nerve nuclei one by one. We will start from third because third is our main part. So you can see the origin of the third cranial nerve. This is oculomotor nerve that is coming from interpeduncular fossa in the anterior side of the midbrain, emerging from the accessory oculomotor nuclei and the main oculomotor nuclei, and it exits to the middle cranial fossa and then passing through the superior orbital fissure to supply the ciliary and sphincter muscles, also supplying the levator palpebrae superioris. So let's quickly go to, sorry, after oculomotor third, where is a fourth nerve? Yes, fourth is this one. Yes. So you can have an overview of fourth. So fourth is, you see, as we know, is coming out from behind. Let me hide these structures. I'm hiding the part of the cerebellum. Yes. So you can see this is a fourth. No, this one is a fourth. Yes. This is a trochlear nerve, and you see it's coming out from behind, from the trochlear nucleus of midbrain. It exits the middle cranial fossa, then it's emerging from the posterior side of the pons, turning around, and then coming here and follow the same course with the oculomotor nerve. Let's go back to the fifth cranial nerve. Where is the fifth cranial nerve? This is fourth. Fifth is trigeminal nerve. Trigeminal nerve, as we know, it's arising from the lateral surface of pons. It has a thick sensory root and a motor root, and you see it's dividing into three divisions: ophthalmic, mandibular, ophthalmic, mandibular, and maxillary division of trigeminal nerve. So we are concerned only through the cranial nerves related to the brainstem. So after fifth, we have sixth, seventh, and eighth all coming together. You know, this is a sixth cranial nerve. This is abducens nerve arising from ontomedullary junction. Now, after sixth, I'm not able to look after the seventh here, but probably here. Just let me see the eighth one. This is a vestibulocochlear nerve. So we can say sixth, seventh, and eighth. There's the seventh. Now let me see the facial. Eighth. Yes. Now this is a glossopharyngeal nerve, or the ninth cranial nerve. Here you can see this is ninth cranial nerve, or also known as glossopharyngeal pharyngeal nerve. It emerges from the medulla and follow the nuclei. These details all are given here. Go to the 10th cranial nerve, 9th, where is the 10th vagus? So this is a location of hypoglossal nerve. As you know, this is arising from a groove between olive and pyramid. So this is pyramid. Here is the olive, and in between these are the nerves originating for the hypoglossal nerve. That's the 12th cranial nerve. Let me go to the spinal accessory nerve, that's the 11th nerve, and then we will go to the facial that is left behind. Accessory nerve has two components, one is spinal and one is cranial. So here is a facial nerve that was left in between. We didn't talk about that. Sorry. This is a facial nerve. As you can see, its origin. Yes, here is a facial nerve. So facial nerve arising from the facial motor nucleus, superior salivatory nucleus, and nucleus tractus solitarius. It exists the posterior cranial fossa through the internal acoustic meatus. You can see it's arising from the pontomedullary junction. So what is left? I think the vagus nerve. I'm looking for the 10th cranial nerve. Vagus. Yes, here is a vagus nerve. And you know, it's a very, very long nerve. And origin is the same place. One minute. Yes. So it has all the components: general thoracic afferent, special visceral afferent, special visceral efferent, and special visceral afferent. And its origin, as you know, it's coming out from here. You see its origin from here. This is the origin of the vagus nerve rootlets. Here is the olive, and this is the main body of medulla. If I'm turning behind, it's arising from here. These are the rootlets from where the vagus nerve is arising. So it's all about the left vagus. You see, this is one of the superior ganglion of vagus, and here is a inferior ganglion of vagus. Let me zoom a little bit. These are the rootlets of the vagus. It's arising from here. You see the vagus nerve coming out like this way. So now, please, any questions, anything that is left here? Fourth ventricle also I can show you. Just 1 minute, and then we are going to finish this session. I think time is also over. Let me see that recording is fine. Fourth ventricle. So here is a model that's going to make a fourth ventricle. Sorry. This is fourth ventricle, you see. It's located in the between cerebellum and brainstem, posterior to the pons and medulla. It's communicate with a third ventricle via cerebral figure, and it narrows rostrally to form the cerebral aqueduct. The fourth ventricle here above is communicating with the third one by cerebral aqueduct, and below is by central canal. So this one is the median aperture for the fourth ventricle, lateral aperture for fourth ventricle, choroid plexus for third and fourth ventricle. Okay. Any questions, any queries? Yes, please tell me any question, any queries. Let me see that all these recordings has been done, so I can send you by WhatsApp. Please, your questions, or I'm going to. Thank you. Okay. Any clarification is required? We covered cerebellum, we covered brainstem, we covered fourth ventricle. This is the ventricular system of brain. So can I stop the share now and stop the recording? First of all, stop the recording, I think.